17-year-long Madeleine McCann case. The prime suspect in her abduction and presumed murder.
17 years of mystery, heartache, and relentless search come together in a groundbreaking exclusive. Join us as we unravel the story of Madeleine McCann, a little girl whose disappearance captivated the world. In this must-see video, we dive deep into the latest developments surrounding the claims of Julia Faustina, a 21-year-old woman asserting she is Madeleine. With unprecedented access to first-hand interviews and never-before-seen footage, we explore the intricate details of this ongoing investigation and the implications it holds for the McCann family. From the shocking events of that fateful night in Portugal to the persistent pursuit of justice by her parents, Kate and Gerry McCann, our documentary sheds light on the complexities of a case that has intrigued and perplexed millions. Discover the theories that have emerged, the suspects who have surfaced, and the tireless efforts of law enforcement that continue to this day. We will dissect the media frenzy that surrounded this tragedy and the toll it took on a family desperate for answers. This video isn't just a recounting of events, it's an exploration of hope, resilience, and the pursuit of truth. Don't miss out on this pivotal moment in the investigation. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay informed as we follow this developing story and seek justice for Madeleine McCann. Your engagement can help keep this case alive. This ongoing story is not just a tale of tragedy, it's a complex narrative filled with unexpected twists, moments of profound heartbreak, and a relentless quest for answers that has spanned nearly 2 decades. Each new detail that emerges in the investigation fuels the hope that one day, Madeleine McCann, who disappeared at the tender age of 3, will be found. The McCann family, composed of parents Kate and Gerry, along with their 2-year-old twins, embarked on a week-long spring vacation in the picturesque village of Praia da Luz, nestled in Portugal's stunning Algarve region. This village, often dubbed Little Britain, is a beloved destination for many British travellers, owing to its vibrant expatriate community and welcoming atmosphere. Their stay was booked through a reputable British travel company, Mark Warner, known for providing family-friendly vacations. They were assigned apartment 5A on Rua Doctor, Agostinho de Silva, a cosy 2-bedroom ground floor unit. This particular apartment belonged to a retired teacher from Liverpool and was one of several private properties managed by the travel company, designed to cater to families seeking relaxation in a scenic locale. The layout of the waterside village complex offered a sense of community, with nearby apartments housing close friends of the McCann family, including Matthew and Rachel Oldfield, and Jane Tanner and Russell O'Brien. The camaraderie among the adults, along with the shared experience of parenting young children, created a lively and supportive environment. The apartment itself was strategically located at the corner of 2 streets, Rua Dr. Agostinho de Silva and Rua Dr. Francisco Gentil Martins, providing a blend of privacy and accessibility. However, the idyllic setting soon turned into a nightmare. It was during one of those seemingly normal evenings that the unthinkable occurred. As the adults gathered for dinner at the nearby tapas restaurant, just a short walk of 55 metres away, they took turns checking on their sleeping children. This arrangement, intended to foster both enjoyment and safety, would soon be scrutinised under the harsh light of media scrutiny and public opinion. When Kate McCann discovered that Madeleine was missing around 10 p.m, the reality of their vacation shifted dramatically. The moments leading up to that discovery were filled with laughter and companionship, but they quickly spiraled into chaos and confusion. The subsequent investigation would reveal how this single evening would alter the lives of the McCann family and resonate with people worldwide. As the search intensified, it became clear that this was not just a personal tragedy. It was a story that would capture global attention, prompting intense media coverage and widespread public interest, akin to the global fascination with other tragic events. Through it all, the McCanns' unwavering determination to find their daughter remains a poignant testament to parental love and resilience, even amid immense adversity. Every new lead and development in the case rekindles the hope that, despite the passage of time, answers may eventually surface, bringing some semblance of closure to a story that has touched countless lives. The McCann family's stay in Praia da Luz was meant to be a restful escape, but it quickly devolved into a nightmare that would capture global attention. Their apartment, designated as 5A in the Waterside Village complex, was a modest yet comfortable two-bedroom unit that offered access to the amenities of the Ocean Club. The living room featured sliding glass doors that opened to a balcony, providing a view of the vibrant resort facilities, including the inviting swimming pool, well-maintained tennis courts, and the lively tapas restaurant where the adults would later gather for dinner. This balcony was accessible from the street via a small gate and a few steps, which contributed to a sense of openness but also raised questions about security. The front door of the apartment, positioned on the opposite side of the unit, faced Rua Doctor, Agostinho de Silva, a quiet street that contrasted with the bustling main resort area. Inside the apartment, the atmosphere was one of normalcy. The McCann children were sleeping soundly in a bedroom located near the front door. Kate and Gerry McCann had taken every precaution to ensure their children's safety during their stay, locking the bedroom door at night. This room, designed for comfort, had curtains drawn tightly across the window and a metal shutter on the outside that could be controlled from inside, effectively blocking out light and prying eyes. The window overlooked a walkway and parking area, separated from the street by a low stone wall. In this secure environment, Madeleine slept in a single bed positioned away from the window, while the twins occupied travel cots set up in the middle of the room. Another single bed was strategically placed under the window, perhaps intended for ease of access or comfort. This arrangement illustrated the care and thoughtfulness with which the McCanns approached their family vacation. They had planned to enjoy a relaxing week in the sun, but those dreams would soon be shattered. As the evening unfolded, the adults took turns checking on the sleeping children while enjoying their dinner just 55 metres away at the tapas restaurant. This arrangement, meant to blend leisure with vigilance, would later be scrutinised in the court of public opinion. It was during one of these routine checks at approximately 10 p.m. that Kate McCann discovered her daughter was missing. The sense of dread that engulfed her at that moment would be mirrored by the urgency of the local police, who received the call and arrived at the resort around 11:30 p.m, having come from a nearby town called Lagos. The initial response from the local authorities was swift but, as later reports would reveal, deeply flawed. They called in the Polícia Judiciária, PJ, the criminal police from Portugal, but their arrival was met with confusion. Kate claimed that the PJ officers did not arrive until after 1 a.m, a discrepancy that would become a point of contention. The local police initially conducted a short search of the area, but their efforts were hampered by critical oversights, such as failing to immediately distribute Madeleine's description to the border police or maritime authorities. No door-to-door searches were conducted in the vicinity of the apartment, a glaring lapse in protocol that would haunt the investigation. Compounding the challenges of the investigation, roadblocks to control access to the area were not established until 10 a.m. the following morning, leaving ample time for a potential abductor to escape. The road monitoring company, Eurocut, later reported that they had not been contacted by police during this critical window. An Interpol alert for Madeleine was also delayed by 5 days, a period during which crucial evidence may have been lost. Furthermore, not all guests at the resort were interviewed, leaving gaps in the investigation that would become increasingly apparent. Inside apartment 5A, the situation was dire. As soon as the police arrived, the crime scene was compromised. Approximately 20 people had entered the apartment before it was officially sealed, making it difficult to ascertain what evidence might have existed prior to the influx of individuals. Initial forensic tests indicated the presence of DNA from an unknown person, but the contamination of the scene raised questions about the reliability of this evidence. A police officer did attempt to dust for fingerprints on the outside of the bedroom shutter, but alarmingly, he did so without wearing protective gloves, further jeopardising the integrity of the investigation. Back in the UK, Leicestershire Police, led by Chief Constable Matt Bagd, coordinated the British response to Madeleine's disappearance. However, Portugal maintained control over the investigation, leading to a complicated dynamic between the two forces. The establishment of a specialised team that included the Serious Organised Crime Agency and the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre was an attempt to streamline the efforts to locate Madeleine. Still, this cooperation was fraught with tension, as some Portuguese officials perceived the involvement of British authorities as an overreach, reminiscent of colonial attitudes. In the initial days following the disappearance, media relations were managed by Bell Pottinger for Mark Warner, the travel company that arranged their stay. However, after 10 days, the British government took over, deploying press officers such as Cher Dodd and later Clarence Mitchell, who became the public face of the McCann family's campaign for assistance. As government support dwindled, the McCanns sought the help of Justine McKinney and Hanover Communications, led by Charles Lexington, a seasoned strategist who had previously served as a secretary to Prime Minister John Major. Throughout this harrowing ordeal, the McCanns faced not only the anguish of their daughter's disappearance, but also a media storm that often focused more on speculation than on the truth. The mistakes made in the initial hours of the investigation would reverberate for years, shaping public perception and fueling controversies that overshadowed the family's desperate search for their beloved child. The heartbreak and hope intertwined in their story, symbolising the challenges faced by those who seek answers amid tragedy. Brian Kennedy, the owner of Everest Windows, emerged as a crucial ally for the McCann family during their distressing ordeal. Recognising the need for dedicated support, he generously stepped in to provide financial assistance, enabling Clarence Mitchell, their spokesperson, to leave his government job and devote himself full-time to advocating for Madeleine. This decision proved pivotal. As the family's public profile grew, so did the complexity of their situation. Later, Mitchell's salary was covered by the Madeleine Fund, established on May 15, 2007, with the express purpose of financing the search for their daughter and maintaining public attention on her case. The response to the fund was overwhelming. Within just 2 days of its launch, the fund's website recorded an astonishing 58 million visits, illustrating the widespread concern and interest in Madeleine's disappearance. Throughout May and June, the McCann's public relations team orchestrated numerous events designed to keep the media spotlight firmly on Madeleine. Their efforts included trips to significant religious sites such as Fatima in Portugal, as well as high-profile visits to countries like Holland, Germany, Spain and Morocco. The couple even flew to Rome to meet Pope Benedict XVI, a meeting facilitated by Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, the Archbishop of Westminster, and arranged using Sir Philip Green's private jet. In June, a poignant initiative saw balloon releases occur in 300 cities worldwide, aimed at raising awareness about Madeleine's plight. The media frenzy surrounding her case was palpable, with journalist Matthew Parris noting a significant uptick in British newspaper sales attributed to the coverage of her story. Madeleine's image graced the screens of major news outlets, including Sky News and People magazine, as well as numerous tabloids, reinforcing her status as a symbol of hope and heartbreak. From May 2007 to July 2008, the Portuguese newspaper Correio da Manhã published an impressive 384 articles dedicated to her story, while a YouTube search in June 2008 revealed over 3,680 videos and approximately 7 million posts related to her case. The Madeleine Fund continued to attract attention, receiving over 80 million visits in just 3 months, substantially supporting ongoing investigative efforts. In September 2007, Brian Kennedy further solidified his support by joining the fund's board. He financed private investigators, such as Control Risks, a decision that led to tensions with Portuguese authorities who were already navigating their own investigation. Amidst these developments, reports of potential sightings of Madeleine began to surface, including a notable instance in Morocco where a Norwegian woman claimed to have seen a girl resembling her, who asked, "Can we see Mummy soon?" Despite the urgency of this information, a month passed before the McCanns were formally interviewed by Spanish police, prompting them to travel to Morocco to intensify the search, working closely with consular staff at the British ambassador's residence. The investigative landscape grew increasingly complex, as Kennedy also hired a Spanish agency, Metodo 3, at a rate of £50,000 a month. Over a 6-month period, this agency deployed 35 investigators across Europe and Morocco, but the partnership soured when the agency's head made concerning public statements, including a bold claim to CBS that, "We know who the kidnapper is and how they did it." In 2009, retired detective David Edgar, recommended by the head of the Manchester Serious Crime Squad, was brought on board to investigate. Edgar released an e-fit of a woman who, shortly after Madeleine's disappearance, had approached 2 British men in Barcelona, inquiring if they were there to deliver her new daughter. Private search efforts took on various forms, with a Portuguese lawyer financing a search of a reservoir, and a South African developer employing ground radar technology in 2012 to detect bones under a driveway near Praia da Luz. Additionally, the Madeleine Fund engaged Oakley International, a detective agency led by former British officer and MI5 agent Henry Eaton. This agency conducted undercover operations at the Ocean Club and probed into potential paedophile rings and the Roma community in the area, showcasing the desperate measures being taken to uncover the truth. Within this chaotic environment, Edgar's team questioned the Tanner sighting and redirected their focus to the Smith sighting of a man carrying a child toward the beach. However, this produced e-fits that stirred controversy. Initially, Martin Smith believed he recognised Gerry McCann in the sighting, but later retracted his statement, creating confusion about the reliability of witness accounts. Edgar recommended making the e-fits public in November 2008, but disagreements over fees and ongoing criticism of the McCanns kept the report confidential for a considerable time. Eventually, the e-fits were shared with the PJ and Leicestershire Police by October 2009, and Scotland Yard later became involved, though the information was not released immediately. In October 2013, Scotland Yard released the e-fits during a BBC Crime Watch reconstruction, reigniting interest in the case. Following the broadcast, the Sunday Times reported that the McCanns had possessed the e-fits since 2008, leading to a complaint from the McCanns and an apology from the newspaper. This incident culminated in a lawsuit, with the McCanns receiving £55,000 in damages, which Gerry McCann announced would be donated to charity, further emphasising their commitment to keeping Madeleine's memory alive. From the onset, the Portuguese police harboured suspicions about the McCanns, a sentiment amplified by the overwhelming media attention surrounding the case. They viewed this media circus as a potential distraction from their investigative efforts. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Gerry McCann candidly admitted to making a conscious decision to market Madeleine's case, ensuring it remained in the public eye. This strategy included bringing in several public relations consultants to Praia da Luz, which frustrated local police who believed the intense media scrutiny was hindering their investigation. Tensions escalated further when a German reporter openly challenged the McCanns regarding their role in Madeleine's disappearance during a Berlin press conference. The situation was exacerbated by a detailed article in the Portuguese Weekly Sol, titled "The Madeleine Case, A Pact of Silence," which labelled the McCanns as suspects and questioned the validity of the Tanner sighting, suggesting it may have been fabricated. This environment of suspicion was compounded by leaks, as reporters gained access to contact information for key witnesses, including members of the so-called Tapa 7, further complicating the already intricate web of investigation and public perception. In the wake of Madeleine McCann's disappearance, the Portuguese media ignited a firestorm of sensational and unfounded rumours about the McCann family and their friends, many of which were echoed by the British press. These rumours ranged from bizarre allegations about their personal lives including accusations of swinging, to more sinister claims that they had neglected their children or conspired to conceal the truth about the events of that fateful night. Such speculative narratives not only fueled public intrigue, but also exacerbated the already intense scrutiny the family faced. A significant point of contention arose from conflicting accounts regarding how Gerry and Kate McCann checked on their children during the evening. In his initial interview, Gerry stated they used the locked front door to access the children, but he later referred to the unlocked patio doors, explaining to the Sunday Times that they opted for the patio doors because they were quieter and less likely to disturb the sleeping kids. This inconsistency, compounded by uncertainty over whether the front door had been locked, led to rampant speculation and suspicion among investigators and the public alike. Kate McCann's response when she discovered Madeleine was missing also raised eyebrows. Instead of using her phone to call for help or alerting others from the balcony, she ran directly to the restaurant where friends were dining, leaving her twins unattended in the apartment. Critics pointed to this reaction as questionable behaviour, raising alarms about parental responsibility. Additionally, the exterior shutter on the window, which was designed to be operable only from the inside, showed no signs of forced entry, contradicting the initial expectations of a break-in. These inconsistencies in their narrative prompted the Portuguese police, known as the PJ, to entertain the theory that no abduction had taken place at all. Instead, they theorised that Madeleine may have accidentally died within the apartment, leading her parents and their group of friends, infamously dubbed the Tapas 7, to stage an abduction to cover up the tragic incident. This theory gained traction, particularly after Chief Inspector Tavares de Almeida reported that the case's trajectory shifted dramatically when Kate McCann refused to answer 48 questions during an 11th hour police interview. At that moment, the PJ suggested that acknowledging an accidental death could lead to a more lenient sentence. As a result of these developments, both Kate and Gerry McCann were formally named as suspects, or arguidos, in the investigation. However, despite the serious implications of this designation, they were permitted to leave Portugal under the guidance of their legal advisors. This decision to return to England was met with further scrutiny, particularly from those who viewed it as an attempt to evade accountability. Carlos Anjos, a former head of the Portuguese Police Detectives Union, lent his support to the PJ's theory, telling the BBC that a majority of Portuguese investigators believed Madeleine had died in the apartment, suggesting a grim consensus that shifted the focus away from a kidnapping scenario. The situation became even murkier with the emergence of leaked diplomatic cables that hinted British police had gathered evidence that could implicate the McCanns. Although this was part of a collaborative investigative effort between the UK and Portuguese authorities, the media attention, initially beneficial in raising awareness for the search, soon turned sharply against the McCanns. Public sentiment shifted dramatically, especially on social media platforms like Twitter, where negative opinions began to proliferate. The portrayal of the McCanns' decision to leave their children alone that night became a focal point for criticism, amplifying the backlash against them. Missteps in their public relations strategies further compounded the situation, and what began as a desperate quest for justice morphed into a public relations nightmare. The McCanns eventually testified at the Leveson inquiry, which examined standards in British press coverage and highlighted the extensive damage caused by sensationalist headlines, particularly those from the tabloids. The inquiry underscored how the relentless media scrutiny exacerbated the family's suffering and complicated the investigation, with the Daily Express facing specific condemnation for its damaging portrayal of the couple. The story of Madeleine McCann was revisited in the Netflix documentary The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann, released in March 2019. While the McCann family did not endorse the documentary, it provided multiple perspectives on the investigation and the media frenzy that followed. Featuring interviews with key figures involved in the case, the series reignited public interest and debate, once again placing a spotlight on the complex and ongoing mystery surrounding Madeleine's disappearance. The documentary raised essential questions. Was this a tragedy marked by errors, or was there something more sinister at play? As the investigation continues to unfold, we remain committed to keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates as we delve deeper into this heartbreaking story, striving to unravel the layers of mystery that still surround the case of Madeleine McCann.